Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Rodrigo, aka Coolest Man on YouTube. Today I want to tell you about the book that changed everything for me. I would say most influential, but I got two or three other books that I'm actually going to bring to you in this series. But this book right here really changed everything for me. So let me start out by telling you this story. Finding wealth is like waking up on a really foggy day, hopping in your car. There's no GPS, there's no maps. You load up your family. You drive down the road. People who have never been where you're trying to go have inputs. They're like, oh, well, you should take this route or you should take that route. But they've never been there. To make it more complicated, while you're driving down the highway, you constantly see billboards on the left and the right saying, wealth here, exit 12. Wealth here, exit 14. Faster route, exit 15. That's how it is, or at least that's how it feels when you're trying to establish or build wealth. And as a young man who goes to school and when they ask you what you want to be, you generally say, I want to be either a doctor, lawyer, or someone rich, right? Chasing this wealth is really goals to get to the end where you get to live life to the fullest and not just stress about working and working and working. And like I said, well-intentioned people in the car with you, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your grandma, are going to tell you, hey, well, this is the route to go. But at the end of the day, have they been there or not? Signs on the roads are going to say, exit here. And that's like social media. They come in, exit here. Hey, do this system and you'll get this wealth bill. Sell on Etsy, sell on eBay, be an influence. Do all these things to get this money. But I discovered one thing for me that helped. And every time someone asks, hey, how did y'all get to your situation? How do you get financially free? I'm struggling with money. How do I help myself? I always recommend the same thing. I recommend this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I recommend this book because for me, it was the most impactful. And there's the chapter in there that really changed everything for me. And there's chapter 1, and it's The Rich Don't Work for Money. And when I first saw that chapter, it opened up a big question mark for me. If they don't work for money, why are they working? Because I was always taught, you get a job, you work hard, and then they pay you for the work you did. So we're exchanging time or labor for money. And if the rich don't do that, we've been all bamboozled. And what you find in this book is they tell you the rich work for experience and they collect assets. So the big difference between a rich person or a poor person or someone who's struggling or someone who's thriving in life is look at their collection. A lot of people who are not doing good financially collect a whole bunch of stuff called liabilities. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket but don't add money in. So when I read this book, and he makes some really good examples and parallels between what his rich dad, which was a mentor, and his poor dad, which was his actual dad, which was an educator and well-intended, you hear the same thing. Go to college, get a job, work really hard, retire, you'll be okay. For me, I was waiting tables for years. And what changed my mindset on that is, I think it was 2010 or 2011. I moved to St. Louis. I was working at Red Lobster. And at the time, the market had crashed. And so I'm sitting there as a young adult in a new city, and I'm seeing everything go to hell around us. And there was tons of people who were coming in for jobs who retired. And it broke my heart because they did everything they were supposed to do. They worked hard, they saved money, and they retired. And at the end of the day, they didn't have enough to live. And they had to go back to the workforce. I had to work with a lot of older ladies and gentlemen who had to take host jobs at Red Lobster. And that right there shook me and said, hey, they did everything that they were told. That can't be right. And they were well-meaning, well-intentioned people, just really great people. And they were sold a bag of goods. They were with people in the back of the car who were saying, you got to go this route. And this was a common story in Rich Dad Poor Dad, where there was two different perspectives. And the perspectives left two different scenarios. So me, I'm a long-time real estate investor. So I bought my first rental property actually in St. Louis. And I bought my last rental property in St. Louis, and I'm going to continue buying rental properties over and over. But that has been the biggest difference that's changed my whole life and my whole trajectory. So if you see me traveling, you see me having fun and all that, we are entrepreneurs. We have few businesses, but this is what changed everything. It's been very controversial. Is this story real? Is the story fake? It doesn't matter to me. I mean, the results speak for themselves. And if you listen to a podcast called Bigger Pockets is a podcast for real estate investors where they teach you how to invest in real estate. At the end, they asked a famous four or something like that, and they always ask you if you recommend a book or what book changed everything for you. And 9 times out of 10, it's the same book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I wanted to make a quick video. That way, when people ask me and I send them to the book, I can also send them to the video and get my answers. Or for people who don't get to walk to me and ask me questions, you can get that answer too. Like I said, coolest man on YouTube. Peace.